In this week's BlizzPro Weekly, Blizzard has a new trademark, StarCraft 2 has a back-to-school promotion, Wyatt Cheng talks about combat in Diablo 3, Hearthstone has an incoming beta wipe, and what is the best way to behave around cosplayers when you attend BlizzCon? Hey everybody, welcome to the newest episode of BlizzPro Weekly. As always, I'm your fantastically bearded host, Chris Arnone. A little bit of a cold this week, so I'll try to keep the coughing to a minimum. Let's go straight into World of Warcraft.
Here's the beef.
So this may not be strictly World of Warcraft related, but we're putting it here anyway. So the trademark saga of Blizzard continues. Now, several of you probably remember from past episodes, we've talked about various trademarks like Cute But Deadly, which ended up being a line of toys that Blizzard is creating. Next trademark we saw was Reaper of Souls, which we very quickly learned is the next expansion, the first expansion for Diablo 3. Then we heard about the Dark Below, which was debunked as being kind of a hoax, because very soon after trademarks popped up such as Corgis Unleashed and proved it's pretty easy to fool the system. However, the Dark Below also showed up on the European trademark system, and both Europe and USA trademarks have disappeared mysteriously, so we really don't know what it is. Well, now we have a new trademark, specifically in New Zealand, that Blizzard filed for called Heroes of the Storm. Now there's some speculation about maybe this is another hoax. Maybe it's the next WoW expansion. Maybe it's Blizzard renaming their MOBA game from Blizzard All-Stars to Heroes of the Storm. So far we think the MOBA possibility is a strong one, but we still think, the Dark Below is a strong contender for the WoW expansion name. That's why. Now, for those thinking that maybe it's the next expansion for StarCraft 2, okay, we already know that's the Protoss story. It's called Legacy of the Void. And it really would make a lot of sense for them to have the third expansion sound so much like the second expansion. Heart of the Swarm, Heroes of the Storm, I don't think they would do that. Alright, now are you a huge WoW trivia buff? You think you know everything about the lore of the game, the locations, maybe even the different abilities, spells? Well, a new game has now come out available on Amazon today. World of Warcraft Trivial Pursuit dropped, and you can order it now for about $25. As of this moment, there are no reviews on the game on Amazon, but JR just ordered his copy and should have it by Friday. Now, this game is like any other Trivial Pursuit game, so you got the little, wheels with the pie wedges, and, you roll dice, you go around, you answer questions. There are 100 trivia cards with a total of 600 questions. The 6 categories are geography, player characters, lore, loot, enemies, and encounters. So if you and your friends think you have what it takes to play the game, you know everything there is to know about World of Warcraft, go pick it up. Alright, StarCraft 2 time.
You want a piece of me, boy?
For all you StarCraft 2 fans, Blizzard has announced a new back-to-school promotion. So from now until September 30th, not very far from now, alright, you can buy Wings of Liberty for half off and Heart of the Swarm for 25% off. They're also giving bonuses for current players of StarCraft 2 with a new feat of strength and new player portraits to celebrate this back-to-school season. Now, in order to claim the back-to-school inspired portraits, all you have to do is win one match in multiplayer versus AI, custom games, or even an arcade match. Players also get a 100% bonus to XP to help you get that last unit skin or portrait you've been hunting for. So if you haven't tried StarCraft 2, or you're a veteran, Blizzard has you covered from end to end. Alright, so from now until the end of the promotion, also all starter editions have been updated to include all 3 races instead of just Terran. And we talked last week, WCS, that Korea and Europe are still in their Season 3 round of 16, while America is still in the round of 32. Well, a few things of note have happened over this past week that will affect the overall standings heading into BlizzCon. Now in WCS America, Eli was not able to advance. Now he's currently sitting at number 8 in the global standings, so he might still be able to make it to BlizzCon in one of those last few spots, even with the loss. Now in Korea, SOS was ranked number 9 globally, but was unable to advance past the round of 16. He should also make it to BlizzCon though. Now in Europe, MC was able to advance to the round of 8. He's currently number 12 globally, and he should be pretty solid to make it, jump ahead of both A-Live and SOS in the rankings if he continues to do well. Rain also advanced the round of 8 in Korea, and he is currently number 13 globally. But that advancement should really help him move up and get him into BlizzCon. As of right now, there are several players in sort of the hot seats, having issues, might not make it. We're talking A-Live, SOS, MVP, and Revival. They all got knocked out in their current rounds, and this is going to possibly allow some other players to move up. Naniwa is practically out at this point. He's number 14 and did not advance. We talked about that last week. Also, we talked about last week, if Scarlet can advance in the WCS America, she has a good chance of moving up to one of those top 16 spots from her current number 19 position. Some of those other players, might fail to move up themselves. Number 17 player for GG is likely to move up after advancing to the round of 16 in Europe. Also, in Europe, MMA is currently at 21 and has a chance to move up with that top 16 spot as well. We'll just have to see how that plays out. I tell you what, this whole ranking thing is really sort of shaking things up this year compared to last year. Let's talk Diablo 3.
Stay a while and listen.
So in a recent forum post, a user asked about the Reaper of Souls seeming to have a slower pace as far as game style, and it seemed like they were using defensive styles in a lot greater depth than before, and was wondering if someone could explain. So senior technical game designer Wyatt Cheng chimed in with a post explaining his thoughts. And one of the things he mentioned is that it's not healthy for the game when a player's health pool goes from nearly empty to nearly full on a regular basis very quickly over and over. Now he's talking about some of the current builds in Diablo 3 that are very offensively oriented and use life leech and other methods of gaining health very, very quickly. Now he said that a health pool that quickly goes from nearly empty to nearly full implies there's not a lot of room for variance in incoming damage. Say they decide to increase monster damage by 15%. That would end up resulting in instant death, which turns into that whole, soon as I turn up monster power, I get one shot. Yeah, he goes on to say that he would rather see a game where a clever player can handle a higher monster power by reducing incoming damage through good play instead of just making it a gear check. Another factor he talked about is how the current health loses meaning. So right now, at 95% you feel safe. At 50% you feel threatened. At 5% you're kind of in oh shit mode. But with all the bouncing up and down so fast, it's kind of meaningless. All right, you also lose a lot of that tactical combat opportunity where a player should be able to assess a situation accordingly and react, rather than just running in full steam ahead and beating everything you see with a large stick without a care about what's going on. They're wanting to get away from that style of gameplay, wanting to make players think a little bit more. He says there's no easy instant fix or solution, and it doesn't have anything yet on solutions that they are working on. He did say the first line of defense is reducing the rate at which players heal. So it does sound like maybe some nerfing is going to happen with the rate of healing from some items when Loot 2.0 or Reaper of Souls expansion drops. Well, we want to know your thoughts on this possible change to the game. Do you think it's the right direction? Or are you kind of upset because you really like your current sort of, angsty, powerful build that you like to play? Let us know in the comments. In the meantime, we're going to talk about Hearthstone.
Pull up a chair by the hearth.
So for those of us who are in the closed beta, our cards are going away pretty soon. All right, I know, sad face. But today Blizzard announced that a major patch is coming, and this will probably include some balance changes, such as we've been talking about, nerfing Defias Ringleader. And with this patch will be the anticipated account wipe. Now, before you get your panties in a wad, they talked about this in the FAQ when the beta began. During closed beta, there will be a wipe, and any money you spent, real-world money on the game, will be reimbursed to you as gold. So for every pack you purchase with real money, you'll get 100 gold, and any arena match you paid for with real money will grant you 150 gold. But they're going to take your cards away. Blizzard does not anticipate another wipe will happen in the game after this. So once it happens, the cards you get will be the cards you get to keep when the game goes into release. Blizzard has also not given a date as to when this patch will happen and therefore when the wipe will occur. But it's a good bet it could either happen this upcoming Tuesday or the one after. It's also a safe bet to say that after it happens that the beta invites and maybe giveaways will be starting up again soon afterwards. All right, let's get into the BlizzPro bitch session. So JR was watching the season finale of the new sci-fi series Heroes of Cosplay, which followed some cosplayers around to some shows across the country and showed them making their own costumes and competing in contests. Now the main reason he watched this is because our hometown comic convention in Kansas City called Planet Comic Con was in 2 episodes of the show, including the season finale. Now, JR has attended the show himself almost every year the last 10 years, and it's grown from a really tiny convention over in Overland Park to a much larger convention now being held at Bartle Hall, the major convention center in downtown Kansas City. And there was a bit of drama with the Kansas City show that was, significantly edited, as pretty much it always is in a reality show. But one thing that you notice from watching the show is how rude some people are. Not only the cosplay community, but also the people who are wanting to take pictures of cosplayers. An example of this story is something that JR saw when he was at Dragon Con this year. There was a dude dressed up in a large Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costume where he's standing on stilts. And this guy came up, probably drunk, came running up, gave him a big hug. Nearly knocked the guy completely off his stilts. Now, something like that could have been very dangerous and could have injured the guy in the costume, not to mention potentially destroying his costume that he obviously worked so hard on. So with BlizzCon coming up, just a little over a month away now, with plenty of cosplaying going on there, we decided, make the list, help people know how to behave around cosplayers. Some of these things should be things you already know, but some, maybe you don't, so we want to cover all of these, all right? And remember, this doesn't just apply to BlizzCon, it's any show you attend with cosplayers. Number 1, always get permission before you touch. Whether this is a person or a prop, cosplayers aren't there to be groped or have their asses grabbed. It's not an invitation for you to do those things. When it comes to prop, it also might not be held together all that well, and they may not want you to accidentally break an item that they worked really hard on. Number 2, always get permission before taking a picture. I know that may seem strange to some people, but seriously, don't take people's pictures unless they give you permission first. And with cosplayers in particular, they like to pose in sort of the style of the character that they're cosplaying, and would much prefer to have their picture taken in that way than a picture of them eating something or talking on the phone. They might be having a private moment or be in a bathroom. You have to ask first. Respect their privacy in personal situations like that. And don't feel shy about asking. They are expecting to have their pictures taken. They do enjoy it. And it really serves as a compliment when you go up to a cosplayer and ask to take their photo. It really does. But always ask. Number 3, if by any chance you plan on posting your pictures online, ask for permission to do that. And if you have a website that's like not Facebook or something, give them a business card that has a hyperlink. Make sure that they can go and find those pictures. It's really nice to do that. Number 4, sexy costumes are not an invitation for sex. All right, this happens way too much. It astounds me. All right, it is not a proposition or an invitation. Now, it doesn't mean you can't hit on someone in your normal sort of respectful way that if you find someone attractive or in any way. Just don't expect them to be sort of like extra slutty just because their costume is sexy. This goes for all genders, all sexual orientations. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how skimpy they are. They're not asking for it. It doesn't work that way. And number 5, just observe Wheaton's Law. Don't be a dick. This really covers all the other steps above, but it's worth repeating. Don't be the creep who touches somebody in a costume without asking first. Don't be the asshole who starts tugging on or pulling on props on a costume. Don't be the douchebag who says mean things to people in costume. Don't be the jerk who plows into a cosplayer. They've spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours, a lot of money on these costumes, and they really don't appreciate it if you decide to ruin them. Not only that, you could cause injury, bodily harm to a person. There's probably some other things we missed. You can always throw them down in the comments. But really, when it comes down to it, just use common sense and be a decent human being. Like I said, Wheaton's Law, don't be a dick. It will make the convention much more fun, not only for you, but for everybody else. All right? Now, that does it for the bitch session this week. More of a PSA, if you will. I'm all over the internet, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, Goodreads author. Please subscribe and listen to Twizcast, our official podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel right here. Throw down some comments. We asked some questions there. And of course, check out BlizzPro.com. News, reviews, interviews, everything you need to know about Blizzard Entertainment games. Stay beardy, my friends.